Okay, this one's kind of just a live stream of going over some Git Flow. So let's start recording and see where we go. Let's see. All right, guys. So this video is going to be going over a little bit of like Git Flow and using the terminal, but in the context of Windows. So let's jump on into a screen share. Got a Windows VM here. So let's just maximize that. Okay, it's just Windows 10. Same sort of thing would work with like Windows 11 or Windows 7 sort of concepts. But I'm going to go a few different things. So let's think about the different forms of terminals we might have. You might have just a command prompt. So you've just got a command prompt and you've installed Git for Windows. If we type in Git, we should have access to it. That's great. But let's say we want to start looking around different folders. Let's imagine we're at literally the base C drive. We see that we're in a C drive. We don't really have access to anything else. It's all these things. All these things, we've got like folders, we've got files, we've got a few other things. There's a Windows folder there. We've got a users folder. So we can change directory with CD. So we can CD into users. Let's take a look at users by doing like a dir. So now COMAN is the current user and public is like everyone. So let's go into CD space COMAN. That would be whatever your user is instead. So basically swap out CD space, whatever your user is. Now we do another dir. We can see that we're in the users sort of folder. Notice how we've got this desktop directory. So that's actually referring to this desktop here. So if I were to, let's say, do CD space desktop and press enter, now I'm in the desktop. So if I dir, I've got this GitHub desktop link, Microsoft Edge link and stuff like that. If I now say, okay, well, I want to kind of do something like with Git. So let's say that we want to open up Microsoft Edge and browse the web and try to find, let's go to github.com. Now, I'm not too fussed as to what repo I grab, so I'm just going to kind of literally let's have a look. I should probably sign in, shouldn't I, for now, so I've got access to things. But yeah, so I'm not too fussed about what specific repo, so I'm just going to literally go and grab this one, let's say. So here's the repo. It's an assignment submission review app. We've got this green button here. We can click on this. You may be using HTTPS, might be using SSH, depends upon how you've got things set up. For now, I'm going to try SSH and see what happens. It should theoretically work, but it may not, depending upon how my shell keys are working. If not, HTTPS should be fine. This is a private repo, so it's probably not the best thing to actually try out with. Let's try and find a public one on my computer club stuff, rather than using a private one. Private, lots of private stuff. That's public, but that's a fork of somebody else's stuff. Here we go, a basic CPP app template. So that's a public repo. So I can literally go code. We can do like HTTPS, copy that. And then if we go over to here and type in git space clone, and then paste that actual address. So now if I press enter, it's kind of, if you notice, it's on the desktop, and that's where I was staying. If I was to go like CD space backslash, that's going to take me back to the C drive. So if I do a dir, I can't see that repo. That's because I'm nowhere near the repo. So I can't just go, let's cd into cpp something, because it doesn't exist, at least as far as it's concerned. We can find what directory we're in by typing pwd. That'll say, give me the present working directory. In this case, it's saying I'm in the C drive. So if I want to then get to the desktop, remember, I need to go cd space users. Now, if I do a dir, we can see that we've got two users. There's public and there's coman. So this coman is my current user. So I'm going to cd into coman. And now if I do a dir, we can see that here we have a few things, and there's desktop. So if I do cd space desktop and press enter, now if I do a dir, we can see that cpp app underscore template. So if I want to get into that, I can do cd space cpp app underscore template and press enter. Now if I do a dir, sorry. Now if I do a dir, we're in there. We're in the actual folder. And a way we can kind of check that is we'll go into the Explorer and have a look. And if we can see, we have a .gitignore, a .gitignore. We have our CLI, which is our CLI there, a license. We got a pre-make file. We got a README. We got a few directories. See these dot and dot dot? Those are specialized directories. We can ignore those for now. We got an SRC directory and a tools directory. There's the SRC directory and tools directory. Thing what we can't see is this .git folder. And that's what we call a hidden directory. So if we want to view hidden directory, we can do a dir space -a, or rather /a in Windows. If you notice now, I can see the .git folder as well. So for our purposes, this is how we kind of go around the actual command prompt. Now, the same thing can be done in different things. So let's say PowerShell. So we've got Windows PowerShell. So again, we're in C users. We're actually in the user directory there now. So if I do a dir, I'll be able to see downloads, see documents there, got to see desktop. So that's the place where I want to be. So I need to go cd space desktop, but only because I'm already in the C users command. So notice how now it's changed to desktop. So if I now do a dir, I can see my cpp underscore template. So if I now clear the screen with clear and then type in cd space cpp underscore template and now do a dir, I'm back in that folder again. In PowerShell, you can also do an ls to list directories. It's very synonymous. They look fairly similar, as you can see. And then we could sort of like, say if you was working in Visual Studio Code or something, you'd probably do code space dot to open up Visual Studio Code inside that folder. Like if you wanted to edit some stuff or do some other things. Again, if you don't have Visual Studio Code, this would not actually apply, but it's just an example of an editor of some sort. Right, so let's close that off for a moment. Oh, not the actual virtual machine, sorry. Let's close this off. So that's two different shells that you may have. Or you might have git bash. So here's git bash. Oops. So let's open up git bash. Notice how it looks a bit different. You've got min-gw instead and a tilde at the top. This is what directory you're in. And if I do a ls to list files, as you can see, I can see searches, videos, template, blah, blah, blah. My documents, local settings, downloads, documents here, look. So this document is there. We've got a desktop there as well. So let's clear the screen. Now, if I do pwd, it will tell me what directory I'm already in. Notice I'm now in C drive, users, command. If I go cd space / and do an ls, I've got something different. But now if I do a pwd, it will tell me I'm just in /. Okay. But if I do a cd /c and press enter, now do a ls. Notice I've got the recycle bin, I've got all these documents and settings, recovery, program files. Notice there's now a users directory. So I can then go cd users. Now the case matters. If I put users, it doesn't know what that is. If I do cd users, it's okay. It's kind of worked this time. It shouldn't work, by the way. It's one of those. By rights, it should be case sensitive by rights. Notice it's got small users, whereas the other one was actually large. But you may have slightly different sort of variations on what works and what doesn't. But now we've got this command still. So cd command, which will be whatever your name of your user, you'd cd into that. So now, notice now if I do a ls, we now have like OneDrive pictures, saved searches, videos, source. But we have this desktop. So if I want to get into desktop now, I can go cd desktop and do an ls. And we now have, notice how we've got this CPP app template thing again. So I could cd into CPP app template with a dir, and I'm in there. Okay. So now in command prompt, we're in the correct directory. In the PowerShell, we're also in the correct directory. And also in Git Bash, we're in the correct directory. At this point, if we do git status, it will kind of say, okay, everything's all great. We've got nothing to commit because it's clean. Everything's cool. I've not changed anything. Same again here. If I bring this up, let's clear the screen a little bit and do a git status. That gives me like everything's up to date. Everything's all good. We're all good. And same again now, if I move into my PowerShell and do a git status, I get the same message. They're all exactly the same concepts because we're still running the same git command. If we want to do different things on there, that's a different story. Let's imagine we wanted to do some work on this and we're like, you know what, I want to make some stuff. I don't know, I want to do something with it. So let's say that I want to make a new branch. So we can do a git checkout -b to say I want a new branch. Then give it a branch name. So let's say my branch. Press enter. Now I'm switched over to my new branch called my branch. So now if I do a git status, it tells me on branch, my branch, and nothing to commit because I haven't changed anything. If I now go dir and have a look in here, let's say we want to change something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new file or something. Let's make a new file. So we can use what we call a touch command to create a new empty file of some sort. So I'm going to say touch notes.md. Now, if I do a dir, we'll notice that we've got a new file in there called notes.md, and it's got a size of 0. And that's because it has nothing in. But it's a change. So if I go git status, notice how we've got this little red writing here saying notes.md. That's because we've got something and it's not really tracked via Git. So to track something, we have to add it. So we can say git space add. If we just wanted to add one specific file, we could actually give it the file. If we wanted to add all files that are not tracked, we can just say add and put a dot there, press enter. Now, if I do a git status, notice how it's changed green. It's saying that's a new file. It is staged and ready to commit to this branch. So if I want to commit to the branch, I can literally do a git space commit space -m to give it some sort of information and some speech marks. Now I need to give it a message, a commit message to say what I've done. I'll just say created empty notes file. Press enter. Okay, let's say it says my branch created empty notes file, 1 file change, 0 insertions, 0 deletions, created a node of blah blah with the notes MD. So now if I do a git status, we're on branch, my branch, nothing's commit because the working tree is clean. Yeah. So now we're in a situation where we're nice and clean, everything's all good. Couple of things we could do here. If you're set up to be able to push things to a repository, you could do like git push -u origin main and press enter. Now, if you do that and you don't have rights to write to it, it will sort of have a moan at you, basically. No, so this one's saying blah, blah, everything's up to date on main. So because nothing's changed on main. But let's imagine we want to try and add our, what was it? What did I call it? It was my_branch. Press enter. Let's see what it's saying. Oh, okay. Set up my branch. It looks like I have rights to be allowed to do that. So that's a nice thing. But if you don't, it will moan at you and ask you for some sort of like authorization to do so. But if you'll notice, it's saying enumerating the things, compressing the objects, doing some stuff to the remote. It's just added a new branch to that remote repository and literally started tracking it. So now if we go to the actual website, where's the website gone? Too many things open. There we go. So now if I refresh this, well, it says my branch has recent pushes. So we can look at the click on the main and go down my branch. And if we notice, we come down here, created empty notes file. So we've actually done a push to this specific branch. And there it is. It doesn't actually have any form of stuff in there, but it's created, it's a file. There's a lot of different things you could do with this. I mean, if we're already in here and logged in and we have right access, we could actually turn around and edit this file in the web browser. It's not a recommended thing to do. I wouldn't say go and do this as a thing, but it's nice to be able to understand that we can. So imagine I said, this is some notes inside there, and I scroll down here and commit those changes. So I just want to commit them directly to this branch. So I'll commit changes. Saving, and look, we have this little heading saying this is some notes. But if I now go, let's say, into here, well, into where was we working? We was working in the PowerShell, wasn't we? So what I'm going to do for now, I'm going to close this off because I'm not particularly using that. Let's pop into the PowerShell. Let's clear the screen. Okay, so now if I look at my notes, it's still empty. Notes has 0 things in it. So if I like do like let's say notepad space notes.md, it's empty. There's nothing in there. But we clearly made a change on the remote thing. So what we can do is we can say git pull, yeah, origin my_branch. And we pulled that change. Notice how we got this little fast forward thing. We've updated stuff, and now NotesMD has one thing changed. Notice we've got a plus there, one file changed. Now if I do a dir, you'll notice that my NotesMD has 22 as its size. So it's got stuff in because it's pulled that version of notes to my local machine. So from here, if I went and said notepad space notes.md and open it up, it has the same stuff. Here we could like edit some more stuff. Let's say, I don't know, this is a bit more stuff in my notes. And if I go file and save that file. Now if I do a dir, notice instead of like 20 odd, it's 64 now, so it's a bit larger. So what we can now do is we can do git status. Notice it's not tracked. We've got this notes.md file, not tracked still. So we need to do a git space add space dot. If I make this a little bit visible, so git space add space dot. Now if I do a dir, sorry, not a dir, let's clear the screen. Now we do a git status screen again. So we've got some stage stuff with things that need to be done. So now that we've got that, we can do another git space commit -m, some speech marks, and let's say updated the notes file. There we go. It's added it, ready to be pushed. So now we can do a git space push space origin space my_branch and press enter. Now it's pushing those changes up to the remote. So now if I go over to the remote and do a refresh, notice how it's added this. This is a bit more stuff in my notes. So that's kind of Git as a basic concept of workflow. But if we go over to our main branch and have a look, oh, there's nothing in the main. Oh, of course, because notes doesn't exist yet. Sorry. Let's try and go into our main branch for the main part. So first, I'm going to kind of go here. Then from there, I'm going to go into the main branch because that file didn't exist on the main, so it didn't understand what I was talking about, basically. So now, notice how we got my branch has recent pushed 1 minute ago. What we can do is we can do a pull request here to ask whether it's okay to add all the stuff from my branch thing into the main branch. So if I click compare and pull request, notice how it's now compared the two branches. It's gone, okay, here's the main one. Here's the thing that I want to compare to, my branch. It's now able to merge, so there's no conflicts there. It's not going to break anything if I stick them both together. So what we can do here is we can literally just say, okay, well, this is my branch. I'm going to patch the main from my branch. And then create a pull request. So now we've got this pull request and it shows all of the things that have happened that are different, in my pull request. So it's now like, is it okay to kind of do this? So if you're in a team, you'd have a few people looking at this and going over your changes and making sure they're valid changes to be made. At that point, we could go, okay, well, yeah, I'm happy with that. It's all good. Sometimes you need to add rules where you require approval and reviews first and so on and so forth, depending upon the actual project. But now I could say I want to merge my pull request and confirm the merge. So it's going to just slap all the changes into my main branch now. Successfully merged and closed. All good. Working. So now if I go back into my main branch, we'll just go straight into my thing and I go off and find this repo again. We go to repositories, go off, we find our CPP, where was it? Oh boy. There it is right at the top. There we go. CPP app template. So now if you'll notice, merged pull request number 1 from there, gone from my branch into main, and if you'll notice this notes file now exists in the main branch. So if I go into this notes inside the main branch, it actually exists. Okay, so I think I'm going to end that there. That's a basic sort of starter overview of a few little things in the sort of PowerShell or command prompt or Git bash. The same sort of concepts will work in all of them. Okay, I mean, what we could do is this is on the main branch at the moment. So if I do ls, we can go, okay, well, hang on a minute. This one doesn't have the same thing. So we can do, okay, there's my branch. We've got the notes. Let's imagine I want to do a git checkout main to switch over to the main branch. Now if I do an ls, I don't have that notes file in my main branch somehow. And that's because this one hasn't been updated. It's not locally updated and merged. So what we can do here is we can do a git pull origin main. And that'll pull the current main stuff. Now, so it's got 3 different changes. It's got 1 file change, had 3 insertions in comparison to what we started with. So now if I do an ls, if you'll notice, we've got the notes MD again. So now if I went, now I'll edit with Vim, let's say. So Vim, if we've got it, notes.md. So I typing it in another editor. Vim's just another editor that comes with Git bash. So to get out of Vim, though, remember that you escape, colon, and Q to quit. I'll get you back out. So literally, we have this sort of Git flow moving forward. So again, that should be good enough to get you started, hopefully, on Windows. Again, if there's any questions or anything, feel free to ask, and have a good one. Right, I'm going to end the stream for a bit because I need to upload this video and get it all kind of working.